Apart from that, we've started this whilst in college. So this is something that you may not know. Me and Sarvan Swarup are classmates from college.
Oh,
Uh,
excellent. Yeah, okay.
yes, we're actually benchmates. So that's how this started. And this started in the year of 2018, which was our third year of college. Uh, Stumbled upon a small idea of getting out of the usual day-to-day engineering activities and try to get a bunch of internships in the digital space. Back then in India, that was the time that Geo brought in the revolution of the internet for everybody.
Right.
So the space was booming. The space was hot. It was just that the space was very new. It was a little hard to convince our parents, but we took the leap of faith. Right? We sat out of placements and we decided this is what we want to do. This makes us happy, and this fills our tummy as well. So let's shoot the shot. That's how this started back in 2018. Cut to today, 5 years down the road, we're at close to about 120 brands actively that we work with a
Wow.
team of close to about 39 people. And the most proud or the most best feeling that we have is that all the 39 people that we have at Hovers joined as interns and who we trained with the knowledge that we had or the knowledge that we gathered over all these years, right? So that's a really proud moment and a feeling for us. So that's where we are at right now. We handle close to about 20 crores a month in ad spends for our brands cumulatively. It's a wide range. We have brands spending less and a lot of brands spending more. In terms of US dollars, that would be somewhere around 2.8 to 3 million US dollars a month.
Mm-hmm.
So if you catch that for a year, it's close to about 30 US dollars,
Yeah.
30 million US dollars, which is quite a sizable sum
Indeed.
that, beyond our expectations that we reach. So I'm very proud and glad that we're here. Apart from that, I think you know us very well, but for the audience, this is what we do. And you can always, check us out on www.hovers.in to understand more.
This is mind-boggling, really. Okay. It takes more than just leap of faith, Alan, to sit out of placements. That's one of the very, very pivotal moments and milestones in life. You guys did that. Three of you benchmates trying to start a company together, very young, learning from there, and most of them hired and interns. This is, for me, a foundation of having that kind of culture that you wanted to imbibe in everyone coming and joining you guys and becoming part of the success that you guys have been able to demonstrate. So kudos to you and the team coming this far, because I know very well the market is not easy. The market keeps on changing. But again, if you work with the 100+ brands that you mentioned, it's a testament of what you guys have been able to do. So brilliant. Okay. So now let's look at that. You work with so many different scale of brands, little early stage, even further in the journey as well, and the kind of spend they do is very different, right? So if I am a D2C D2C brand, right, and I have to come to Alan and say, hey, help me guys, right? So what are those top challenges that the brands are facing in today's environment that you guys can help them with, or what will be your guidance to them in maneuvering the environment today?
Right. Thank you so much for that question, Shwetank. So to quickly answer how performance marketing or D2C works today is way different than how it worked pre-COVID. Right? I'll break this out by post-COVID and pre-COVID.
Super.
Today, more than anything and more than even money in the bank, what you need is the right mindset. So that's something that I really approach and tell my potential clients or my existing clients to imbibe or grow. Very honestly, because it's tougher out there now. It's not as easy as launching an ad and getting the orders and customers being happy and scaling from there. It's much more difficult, especially in a country like India, where you have so many brands popping up. Because of that, auction bidding has increased, expenditure has increased. Then you had your whole iOS 14.5 fiasco, which changed the entire scenario.
Yeah.
But from all of this, like I said, going back to the first point that I said, mindset has been tremendously important. You need to be in here for the long game, not for the instant gratification of growing fast, like how it used to happen back then. Just to
Fair.
give you an example, right? Back then, what used to happen was that you'd have your so-called drop shippers,
Hmm.
know how to run a few ads, source some products from Alibaba, and get them sourced from there, shipped from there. Basically, it was a just-in-time kind of a
Hmm.
logistics that was
Hmm.
happening, and it was direct to the customer from the factory in China.
Hmm.
But those kind of days are gone. That was instant gratification. Today, if you need to survive in this market, you need to build a brand. You definitely need some money in the bank if you're not funded. My clear advice to all the founders that I speak who are bootstrapped and has limited funds, we don't suggest to start D2C initially. Marketplaces might be a better route in
Fair.
case your product is a hero. But at
Yeah.
the same time, if you want to build in D2C, it's about experience, right? It's about brand more
Hmm.
than just selling a commodity. So
Hmm.
mindset number one. Number two is money. Money is very important.
Hmm.
The funding winter is on right now. A lot of brands that we work with haven't been able to raise the next round, even though their growth metrics and KPIs are stellar. Uh,
Okay.
so, so that's also number two, right? So being a little more cautious in terms of the funds you use is also important, which comes at a cost also because it's not growth at all costs now.
Yeah.
You need to be a little careful. You cannot burn how much you used to burn back then. Maybe you need to be positive at least on uh, some parts. So that's
Fair.
another thing. And another point, I think, because of all this happening, the talent pool out in the market is varying. So you need a good team along with you, right? There's a lot of layoffs happening in the bigger MNCs. So it's a good time for D2C brands to find that kind of talent and maybe
Hmm.
enforce their kind of a promise with them and take them on board now, so that when things get better, you
Hmm.
have a team, right? So I think these are the three things that I would talk to brands when we start working with them.
And I kind of have witnessed the same as well, Alan, here that I think pre-COVID there was a little bit of bubble being created around D2C. There were so many companies coming in, and now a lot of them having the growth matrix are still not able to get funding. Maybe the markets died out a little bit, or there is some kind of saturation. Are you also witnessing this, or do you expect some kind of consolidation happening in the markets, that bigger brands buying the smaller ones or something like that?
Very honestly, more than seeing this, I hear this, right? To be very honest, it's more
Okay.
hearsay. But in reality, that's not the case. I don't see. I mean, I never saw a bubble before COVID as well.
Okay.
Everybody said it was a bubble, but me
Mhm.
personally, I wouldn't even take Hover's stance over here. I'll talk about Alan.
Yeah.
Me personally, never saw a bubble. Right?
Okay.
I just saw determination in founders to start up in a new market segment. Like let's be more clear over here. Right? D2C was very new pre-COVID.
Hmm.
You need to have a lot of faith and determination in yourself to enter a new market,
Fair.
set alone starting a new brand. These are guys who were in trading before. These are guys who are doing a day job before, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
coming out here and trying to build a brand is absolutely phenomenal, and all my appreciation and hats off to them.
Absolutely. Though that I completely agree. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? I mean, back in the days when you had your big brands in retail,
Yeah.
whoever dared to make a brand? Who
Fair.
dared?
Yeah.
Who dare to make it happen? But then you see this new age of founders and entrepreneurs coming out there, figuring out how to make the website, how to do the brand packaging, how to
Yeah.
find your brand literature, getting the product right with the manufacturer, getting your sourcing, getting your logistics partner, getting someone to run the ads for you. All these things happening is mind blowing, right? So I never saw a bubble there. It's just that it got hyped up a little too much because COVID happened, is what I would say, right?
Yeah.
Because COVID happened, a lot of people who didn't want to start something also started.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so seeing the trend, so that happened, yes. But apart from that, what I would say is that things have, come down to a level of maturity, is what I would say,
Okay. Hmm.
more than the term of the bubble, right? Today, the guys who started long back, out of 10, I think 5 are still there, right? And that's the case with any new market.
Hmm.
Now, tomorrow, if a new market comes, which is not D2C, which is something else. Now, let's say when SaaS started, a lot of people started SaaS.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who? right? That's for any market in the world, and that's the way of business, I guess.
Yeah.
So
No,
in
yeah,
that format, yes, I think that's what.
no, that I think is a good point of view as well. So it takes a lot to start something. You know it,
Yeah.
I know it.
Right.
Most of the times I would say that I won't recommend anybody to start a company as well, because because it just
Right.
you didn't know what you signed up for until unless you actually get into it. It's a very different kind of whatever. So due credits and appreciation for all the guys trying to do it. And again, I do get to speak to a lot of D2C founders as well. And one of this very interesting call I had last week was with this one brand who were on Shark Tank India. They got funded, etc. And the person was just mentioning, he said going to the retail store and looking at the aisles of things, when I realized that there are like 100 products of XYZ types and there were just 5 products of this type, I realized that, there's a gap here. And then, we started looking at this aisle for about a month or two and realized, no, we should focus here. So the inspiration that they get by
Right.
daily objects and looking at just their daily uses is just insane. And I think that's, again, very, very nice to have.
Yeah, I think more than the inspiration is how they execute these things, right? I mean, even I
Which
get
is,
inspired on a lot
yeah,
of things on a
yeah,
day-to-day basis. I might have a chocolate today. I might not like it. I might
yeah,
think of a particular chocolate that I want, but then getting out there and making that chocolate and
that's
serving it to
true.
the masses is a different ball.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's where we come in as well, because Kui is that real-time intent platform, and we kind of go and tell people that, hey, you know what, I want to go and exercise, but actually going to the gym, I don't have intentions of doing that. That's a very different ball game. So what you're saying is right. You can get inspiration, but actually going and doing something about it and executing, it's amazingly important. Moving after COVID, Alan, and given the kind of brands that you guys work with, I have also realized that the traffic has reduced, ad spends have kind of gone up, as in the cost has gone up, etc. And a lot of brands are suddenly struggling to say, should I give discounts? Should I give offers? Should I do this and that? So post COVID, what would be your advice to brands? How should they not panic and then try to maneuver around this, the next year in the market?
right. So let's talk about discounting first,
Yeah.
right? So pre-COVID, discounting was not a thing because that was not the market norm.
Mm-hmm.
Today, if you see any ad on Instagram for a D2C brand, it's with discount. So it's become a market norm.
Yeah. Mm.
You don't discount for most sales, you just discount to play on an even field, right?
Interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
If you don't discount today, I mean,
Yeah.
no offense to anybody.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't discount,
Yeah.
it's like you may be Usain Bolt, but then
Yeah.
the next guy is 10 seconds ahead of you on a 100-meter race. What's the point?
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happened to discounting on offers today. But still, right? Most of the brands, I mean, especially speaking from a brand founder perspective, discounting looks bad.
It's not healthy on the margins. Your brand gets diluted. There are those, yeah,
Right,
whatever. Yeah.
right. It doesn't look healthy, but that's the thing, right? Everyone started doing it. Now everyone does it.
Okay.
So for that to be on an even playing field, you have to do it once in a
Okay.
while.
Sure.
Uh, Again, it's not like retail. So again, it's about volumes. In
Yeah.
retail, you have limited number of brands. I would say D2C is infinite.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Direct to consumer is infinite, at least over the internet, right?
Yeah.
You can have another 100 brands open in retail. How many brands would open in a day?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
So
Yeah.
the market dynamics also changes that when you'll have to use that school of thought, right? So there is a reason why even a legacy brand which was on retail has a separate digital wing. The guys who run the retail outlets are of a different school of thought, and the guys who run the digital outlets are of a different school of thought.
Absolutely.
So
That I agree.
that's basically my take on this. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is going in a very interesting way, so let me spice it up a bit. Okay. There's this famous debate going on LinkedIn and internet, and you coming from a performance and D2C specialized agency, I think the answer is going to be pretty nice to hear. Is what's your take? Acquisition versus retention?
It's a brilliant question. It's very funny you asked me this because on my last podcast with Chirag, who was the founder of GoQuick.
Uh-huh.
So I had a podcast with him, I think 3-4 months back, and he
Okay.
asked me the same question,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and I answered it, and I answered it in a jiffy, right? Very very quick, without even thinking. But it really surprised me when I saw the podcast again. So I'm going to say the same answer.
Cool. Okay.
There is no acquisition, like there is no retention without acquisition.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
So you asked me what is bigger, acquisition or retention? You can only retain if you acquire,
Okay. Okay.
right?
No.
So if you stop
Yeah.
the acquisition funnel, what are you going to retain?
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's my
That's
big
fair. Okay. If I were to start a D2C brand today, okay, I have already spent about 9 months to 12 months, trying to create a product, differentiation, creating my e-commerce website, hopefully on Shopify and other channels, and I'm trying to figure that out. What would be your 5 top tips for them to go ahead and have a checklist on them to make sure that they implement it so that they can have more chances of success in the future?
got it, got it. So let me just think about it. And I think number one, the point is that you shouldn't spend so much time actually figuring out what you want to do. I'm of the school of thought where the more time that you spend, the more time you say no to yourself.
Okay, really okay.
I'm an instant. I think about something, I implement it then and there. So that's number one. I've seen this with the brands that I work with as well, with a new product launch
Hmm.
or with a new offer that we want to launch, right? The brands that we have a discussion and take a decision a week later actually ends up bringing out something else, which doesn't work. And the brands that we discuss and implement on the same day works way faster. So that's number one.
Okay,
Very fast execution is number one in D2C,
super.
right?
Okay, clear. Mhm.
Market is super competitive. You don't have time to slack. Super fast execution.
Mhm.
I've seen this with all the super emerging hi-fi brands that we work with, and these
Hmm.
are the brands that are growing very fast, right?
Hmm.
Super fast execution. Number one. Number two is to find markets which are not commoditized already.
Hmm.
For example, selling a T-shirt is super commoditized,
Hmm.
right? Selling a black plain T-shirt is super commoditized. The only way you can win there is to number one, uh, brand,
Hmm.
right? Building a brand, building a culture around it. Yes, that can work, like a Supreme or something like that.
Yeah.
Number two is price sensitive.
Yeah.
Again, if you do it price sensitively, I don't know if you can build a brand,
Yeah.
but you will sell,
Yeah.
right? That was number two. Number one is execution speed. Number
Hmm.
two is finding a market which is
Market
not
which is
commoditized.
fair. Mm-hmm.
Number three is even before you start your D2C brand, let's say you're a solo founder, build a team,
Yeah.
invest in the team,
Yeah. Team is
right? Have
important.
some funds aside to pay salaries even before you start, right? A lot of brands don't do this. A lot of brands that we work with, they start off as a single founder, let's say a solo founder, they hire us.
Hmm.
And when they come to work with us, we have to teach them a lot of things, which we are okay with. It's
Yeah.
just that the speed of getting things done, again, going back to the point,
Absolutely.
what
Yeah. 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 Time is money, right? At the end of everything.
time
Yeah.
is money. Time is absolutely money because if you don't execute it today, there are 100 brands coming out tomorrow who's going to execute it tomorrow. Even a newer brand can come and take your space.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
invest in a team very, very heavily.
Nice.
Number three is regarding your product ranges,
Hmm.
right? Number four is regarding product ranges. It's basically what you're going to sell
Hmm.
uh, and who you're going to sell it to. How is it going to happen? All this has to be thought out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in number four itself, a subsection would be to have your trial groups already done before you launch.
Okay.
Um, launch D2C to figure out how things happen because in usual case scenarios, if you're not manufacturing, your MOQs are quite high.
Hmm.
You don't want to end up with a lot of dead inventory. So, for
Yeah.
example, in retail, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not take a big store, but even a local mom and pop store who trades garments, right? What happens? They get their products sourced from the manufacturer or the
Right.
trader.
Yeah.
They try to sell off all the inventory that they can, and the dead inventory goes to the street hawkers. At
Hmm.
least in India.
Yeah.
right? The guys who sell on the road or even smaller shops. But in D2C, that kind of a system is not there yet,
Yeah.
right? You place your source with the, I mean, you place your order with the sourcer or the manufacturer. You get your MOQ. How much you move out, moves out. How much you don't move out, sits in your inventory. Right? So planning inventory, planning the product ranges, all this is very important before you start off. So have your trial groups ready, get feedback, keep an open loop, and all that stuff is super important.
Okay.
Number 5, uh, for a starting brand, I would say is to find the right growth partner.
True.
So finding the right growth partner in Hovers or in someone else is very important, because at the end of the day, everything jots down to numbers.
Yeah,
So,
everything's KPI and matrix at the end. Yeah.
however loved your brand is, and even if you have a
Yeah,
million
yeah.
followers on Instagram, if you're not selling, no
Yeah,
one's gonna value you, at least in the business world. So you might
yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot of love, but numbers are super important. So finding a growth partner for the long term is super important.
No, you're
And
absolutely bang on the Instagram part as well. Couple of insights that we've realized here is, again, when we look at visitor intent, we've realized that the intent when somebody is coming from a social media vis-a-vis compared to an organic search is far, far lesser. Or
right,
people might like seeing the ad and going and clicking, and then the bounce rate is extremely high. And second, a lot of people expect and they're very happy to see that, e-commerce experience is like endless scrolling, but then the visitor just scroll and then don't end up buying anything.
right,
So yeah, that's where they don't go right. But yeah, I kind of resonate with what you say, Alan.
right. So yeah, I mean, so that's also something very important that you'll have to look out for.
Yeah, no,
So I
perfect.
think,
Five crystal clear points, and I read this report, and I think I'm quoting this now pretty much every day. Is there are about 50 new D2C brands starting in India every single day,
wow, I was not wrong.
right? You're not wrong at all.
But that was just a guess.
Yeah, it was just exactly, but I'm saying that the market is so insanely there. I wouldn't say crowded
Any
because
idea how many new children are born in India a day?
no, not really.
Because that would be a good ratio to understand.
That's an interesting thing, Alan. That's going to be the podcast topic for the next follow up that we have. Okay, let's compare some economic numbers and demographical numbers with the D2C KPIs. That should be really interesting. So my last question, Alan, is you have to tell us something on this podcast that you've never told anybody else.
Sure, interesting. Can you guide me somewhere, because there's a lot of things.
Okay, so let me funnel it down the way you would like to funnel your visitor and convert for your D2C brand. Is like one person I spoke to said that he's a founder, and he said when I get very tired, I go and play guitar, and I'm not very
Okay.
good at it, but I haven't told people. Somebody else said that I don't like social media at all, but I have to do it because my brand kind of requires it, etc. Someone else said that they were a expert in a very large branded platform for personalization and e-commerce, and they said that, but I just don't like that platform. It's so bulky and it's just so buggy. Just I just don't like it. So
Okay.
something like that, cool. We'd like to hear.
I think I lost you in between, Shweta.
So something like that. What about what we like to hear, that something which is a little cheeky and you've not shared it with anybody, but you have to tell us.
Can you come again? I think I lost, like I mentally lost you as well. Can you
Okay,
just
sorry.
repeat
No.
that?
So the question, Alan, is that you have to share something about yourself that you
Right,
have never told anybody else.
right. No, that I got that. I'm really sorry for this, Shweta.
Okay.
But then I think what you said before that regarding uh, that funneling thing, right? So after that, what you said, I didn't
Yeah, no,
really
I
get.
was just giving you a few examples of what other people had told
Can
when
you
I
give me
asked
another
them.
example, maybe?
Yeah, so yes, like there was this one person I was talking to, and that person is a personalization expert working in very big platforms,
Okay.
and
Personalized using for? I didn't get you.
personalization for e-commerce, right? So and then the person said, I just don't like using that platform. I've
Right.
been using it for like 10 years now, but I just don't like it at all.
Okay.
So anything in that sort, just to add the cheeky bone in our conversation.
Sorry. Let me think. I need to think for this.
Come on, you're faster in getting back to your brands than this, Alan. You're not
Yes,
allowed to think. It has to be spontaneous. Come on, your visitor is going to get out of your D2C site now.
yes. So I don't know if this actually matters, but the reason why Hovers was started is that something worth it?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is worth it, man. Come on, there's nothing not
So
about
the
that.
reason why Hovers was started was because I was a musician back in college. I used to make my own music,
Okay,
and Atharva surprisingly had a bakery. It was his family business.
okay,
He wanted
okay.
to promote his business. I wanted to promote my music as a business.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
we came together saying, see, we both don't know anything about this, but we both have vested interest in this.
Sure. Okay.
Right? So it was not e-commerce back then. It was just to grow a business,
Sure.
any business, right? By getting media over the internet.
Yeah.
And well, let's figure it out, right?
Yeah.
We put in some pocket change that we had into ads, and we tried to learn a few things.
Okay.
And instantly, one of my song clicked. Right, it went above 100,000 views.
Wow. Insane. Okay.
Yeah, and all we did was basically put a little money, target a few audiences and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Get the design also made from a few classmates in
Of
college,
course. Yeah.
and fill the so that kind of was the eureka moment for us, I would say again. And
Yeah.
Atharva was the same way, right? He had a festival going on. Like he came up with this idea saying, let's do a cheesecake festival.
Okay.
Right? Like, okay, that's unheard of. There's nothing of those sorts in Pune,
Sure.
which is in
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
Well, let's try it out. And we did the advertising and all
Wow.
that. And that
Yeah.
turned out to be a massive event with like a crowd of so many people that the cafe had never seen. So, we both were like, okay, so this is the future, then let's go
This
ahead with
is
this.
like million times more worth it, Alan. Come on. This is an awesome story. And that's what it is, right? Most of the good businesses or the organizations that you build don't just come in to make money, or don't just come in to do this, but it comes out such a simple need trying to address a problem, and then the execution, as you very rightly said, just takes over, and then you start seeing the market and just going forward. So
Shwetank, like to put it in simple words, right? Hovers was never started for D2C.
okay.
D2C happened to Hovers.
Yeah. Yeah, but then again, credits to you guys. Adaptability and looking at where the trend is going on is a big insight that a founder needs to have. I'm short of time, Alan, but would have loved to continue this because I'm getting a lot of nuggets from you, and I hope everybody watching would also get a few points that they can implement in their business straight away. Guys, Hoovers are really cool bunch of folks who'll help your business. So in case you are a D2C brand, feel free to reach out to them. And looking forward to having you again on this show, Alan, where we discuss all the other things we discussed and the new parts. So yeah,
Absolutely. And I think we have a title for the next podcast ready, so let's do it soon.
super. I'm going to start working on that already. Thank you so
Done.
much for your time. It was
Thank
really
you.
nice chatting.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Bye.